This video is going to be about how you evaluate a site or application and determine if it is reliable and you should use it during your research. You should have already watched a video explaining how to use a search engine. The first thing that you will do is go ahead and decide on your topic, and you will begin using that search engine and choose a website. Once you've chosen a website to look at, your job is to see if it is appropriate or not. You will become a URL detective. The internet has become part of our lives, and information can be quickly found with the touch of a button. Even though most of the time at school you will go to already linked sites, there will be times at school and at home that you rely on a search engine such as Google, Yahoo, or Yahooligans. Although URLs can take us just about any place, we need to be sure that where we are going and the information we are getting is reliable and appropriate. Follow the clues below and find out the mystery of the case of the appropriate site. What you will do is you will choose your site. Please print the paper that I have shown you by going to our Critical Thinking Lab website and printing that document. The first thing that you will look at is the audience. It is very important to determine the reason for the website. Was it to inform, persuade, and entertain? It is also important to determine at what age level it would be appropriate for somebody to read that. If it's a preschool website and you are a fourth grader, you may need to look at a different site. If you're a fourth grader and you think that it's middle school, but you are still able to understand that information, you most definitely could put it as something that is appropriate for you. There are sites that are written so that anybody could enjoy it and get information and facts from it. In this area right here, you will be taking notes and telling us just, was the website to inform, persuade, and entertain? And you will also be telling us if it was for preschoolers, elementary, middle school, or a wide range of ages. The next thing is bias or objectivity. Is the page filled with links to other sites, or does it provide information? This is kind of a tricky one because it can also, if it's a good and has no bias, it can still give you some additional links to valid information. You just have to make sure at what type of links you're clicking on and where they take you. If it's someone's opinion for fun or a scam, this would be something that you would definitely need to note. Because remember that just because it's written on the internet, it always isn't true. And another thing to look at, are you comfortable with the way that the information is presented? Be sure to write notes here. Reliability and authority. Anyone can publish things on the website. Look at the domain name. Is the author an expert? Is there a link to find out more about the author and who published it? You also will need to consider if the author is an expert. This in the beginning can be something that you can ask for assistance on, because you may not know some of the things. Like if it is geographic, then you may want to use that and you may not want to, but the teacher can help you with that. Also look at who published it. Moving on to truthfulness and accuracy. This clue is similar to the reliability clue. Consider the purpose of the site. Look at the home page. Are the sources documented? This is rarely seen at levels of information that you will read. Can the facts be verified? Are the facts similar to other sites that you've looked at or books that you've read? Be sure that the author gives credit and cite where they got their information. This one sometimes is one that you may not actually be able to prove. If you've tried and you can explain to the teacher what you've looked for, that may be something that is left blank. The next step is up to date. Sometimes information that we come across can seem accurate, but it was actually written in 1972. Be sure to look at when the page was started or began, and if the information is current or updated. Another important feature is to look for updates or revisions. Write any information found under detective notes. Design. Be sure to note if the site loads in a timely manner, if it is easy to navigate, and if the links are helpful and reliable. The last one is whether or not you feel that this site is inappropriate. Can you solve the case of the appropriate site? Was the page worth visiting? Does it contain the information that you were looking for? Look at the clues to help you figure out your final opinion. Crack the case of the appropriate site. I'd like you at that time to go back and look at all the information that you found on the previous questions. And this one should not just include the word yes or no. I think it's an appropriate site. I am looking for those details that you wrote in your detective notes above. If you feel that you're finished and you have just written yes or no, I will ask you and remind you to go back. But remember, to meet our target, that is something that you're going to have to be able to explain. Use the information that you have. That's why you've taken notes. Enjoy looking for those appropriate sites and cracking the case of those that are not appropriate for you to use.